Hi and welcome back to Pittman's Pumpkin Patch, Pittman's Garden Patch. It is August the 5th, 2019. This is actually my first video of the season, and I'm extremely late on getting videos done, I know. I've just been so swamped with projects and things in the garden and maintaining and upkeeping the things that by the time I'm done doing all that stuff, I am just too tired to, do any video shooting. But I figured I needed to get some stuff done here. I haven't had a little bit of a chance. Let me start, I guess, here with my pumpkins this year, since it is Pittman's Pumpkin Patch, right? So I've had some failures and so far some success, as is usually the case every year. As you can see, all the way down at the end there is some PVC pipe sticking up, little frames just like you see right here, all the way down to the end there. And what I did was I draped some of this tulle material over it and some of that other, I think it's like a sheer curtain material. And I clamped them down, or use some jute string to tie them to the PVC frames to hold them down and everything from the wind. And they did pretty good keeping by helping them keep vine borers and even some of the squash bugs out. But you can't protect every little thing. There's always little holes, or the wind blows a little bit and opens up a little piece that you didn't know about, and then there you go, and squash bugs get in there. But I've also been dealing with what I believe are bad seeds this year. These right here in this part of the row, you see very few, and those are the full moon, or big, I think it's full moon varieties, which are the large white pumpkin varieties I grew last year. Did very well last year. But I think the seeds this year are just absolutely horrible. And a bunch of them I've had to throw out because they just weren't, they started out great, germinated great, was growing in little pots, so I transplanted them, everything was going great, and they just fizzled. Just fizzled and did nothing. And you can, for example, you can look at this plant right here. That's how long it is. And that's been in the ground almost 2 months. Transplanted out 2 months. This thing should be going like gangbusters, and it's did little to nothing. Down here, 2 more full moon varieties. These are actually 2 pumpkin plants. And it looks like barely even what one might look like after a month or something. I don't, it's just horrible. It's trying to make a comeback, one of them is, but the other one is so runt and shorty, and it'll probably get pulled too. It's not been a very good year for them. I just think the seeds are bad. Down here on the Dills Atlantic giant pumpkins, you can see it looks a little bit better, but I've had to pull plants from here too. I used to have a plant under that tulle material right there. It used to be a Dills, got pulled. I pulled a couple more because they look just horrible and were not growing. Some look like they had the Mosaic Virus. So it's just, these are just now starting to send a little bit of stuff out here. But look, it's pathetic looking, It's not all bad, but it's not the way it should be. The last 2 pumpkins on the end there, the very last one is a Big Max, which was an old packet of seeds I had, and I had one plant that did really good. So I put that out there, and the one just before it is what's called a Monster. I've never grown it before, but it was a pack of old seeds I had. I had like 6 or so seeds in it, so I just put them in a pot. I got one germinated. They're about, 3 years old. So I just said, what the heck, put them out there. So, like I said, not a lot of anything going on this side. A little runner trying to look like it's trying to be healthy and everything. But now, like I said, I do have some success over here with these dills, the ones that are growing. You can see this is going back there, so this is trying to make a run. This one right next to it, and you look right down here. There's a female pumpkin that is pollinated and it is growing. That's a Dills Atlantic giant. Like I said, this is the Big Max, and it's actually done pretty good. I don't know. Here's a female flower that bloomed this morning, and we'll see if it is if it's going to get pollinated. If it got successfully pollinated or not, we'll see in a couple days or so. If it gets bigger than that, some of you might be wondering, why is that yellow in color, that pumpkin down there? Why isn't it green? Well, in pumpkin family, there are different varieties, and the two that I deal with are the Maxima family and the Peppo family. And the Maxima family pumpkins generally have a yellow color pumpkin, and then when they ripen, they kind of go to a light orange or salmon color, and some go to white. Like the full moons over there, they start out kind of a light green, like kind of a whitish green, and then turn white as they ripen up or start to grow. You can see there's another female flower down there, just in case that one didn't get pollinated. It's got another one ready to go. Here is, down in here, is another Dills Atlantic right here that got pollinated and is growing. And you can see, I'll put something in here to kind of prop this up a little bit more. I turned this, of course they lay on the sides, but I turned it, and you got to be extremely careful. And I, of course, lost a number of pumpkins over the years doing this technique of straightening the pumpkins out, getting them to sit upright so that they don't have a flat side to them. Because when you see pumpkins at the stores or pumpkin patches somewhere, and you go to buy them and you wonder why that back side is flat like that, well, it's because it was laying on its side, and that's generally what happens. So, but I try to intervene to prop them up, to sit them upright so that they will grow. The pumpkin will have a more uniform shape and not a flat side. It's tricky and it's risky. Now, here's another Dills Atlantic right here, and that flower has already been opened up. It may have opened up this morning. It actually looks like it's already growing, so this may be a day or two old, but it looks like it's already growing. And here's this one right here. All right, so, and oops, I had that thing propped up, and I had a little PVC. Hold on a second, guys. I'll do something more later on, but I was using that PVC to kind of hold it up so that it grows. Like I said, it's extremely, you gotta be careful. See this little white taproot right here? Let's see if I can get in on that. That's kind of a shady area. It's hard to see. Yeah. So you got this white little taproot. Now that's what grows into the ground along the bottom of the stems. So you can tell that's how I rotated this whole pumpkin plant on its side. That's why the leaves turned over on the side instead of upright like that. So I can more easily put this pumpkin straight up without running an increased risk of the stem breaking. So that's a little different technique I've used this year. It's kind of rotating the plant. The rest of the plant you can see is still upright. All right, so that's pretty much it for these Maxima family pumpkins up here in the front. You can see, like I said, back down there, I extended this garden row. This one garden row here used to be about 25 feet. I extended it another 25 feet out to the end there where the PVC is. So now I got one row that's 50 feet long. Eventually I like to get the garden up to 50 feet long. And so we'll see. It's a lot of hard work. I did this out here just by shovel and hand everything, and wheelbarrow and or wagon or whatever, and this was like 90+ degree heat out here with humidity. Yeah, and I was the only one doing it, so it was a lot of hard work. Okay, so I think I have, what did I say? I got one. Like I said, that one down there looks like it's growing. That's 2, 3 in there, 3. And I think this Big Max, I will see this. So I have at least 3 that I know that are growing, and that one down there might be. So we'll see. So maybe 4. All right. Now, this year what I'm doing is I'm allowing the pumpkin plant vines. So I'm purposely setting this up. You see all this menagerie, this jungle out here. Yeah. So these are, I have these apple trees and peach trees out here that I transplanted. That was one of my big projects at the big, early parts of spring. And that was a ton of hard work too. And so what I did was I transplanted some of the pumpkin plants. These are all Peppo family pumpkins. I put them, transplanted them into the holes where the trees are too, so they can just all share the nutrients and blah blah blah. And so you can see they've done extremely well. Now they haven't really produced a whole lot, but you know, my favorite pumpkins, the Howden pumpkins, Howden, my favorite to grow. There's 4 plants growing out from this apple tree here. Straight back there is 4 more Howdens, and that peach tree you see standing back there, that's got 4 Howden plants coming out. So all this menagerie is Howdens. Now none of them have grown yet. They've produced some female flowers, but they're all aborting just like they usually do. It takes about 4 to 6 pumpkins being aborted before finally it'll get one to bloom. So I think maybe in the future what I need to do is with my Howdens is to start them even sooner than the rest. Just, you know, maybe like early June, so that because it's going to take a long time for them to finally set a pumpkin. So if I do theirs early June, maybe June 15th, June 10th, something like that, then I might get a few more grown, or might already have some set by now, and get it ready for the growing season. So knock on wood, I've maybe only found 1 squash bug out here on the Peppo families. The squash bugs have been going after those Maxima families up there voraciously, and it's been a battle. It's a constant battle. But for whatever reason, I mean, because like you see, those are the Maximas up here, and then you see the Peppos right in here, and for whatever reason, they have not gone after these. I don't know why, because, and maybe they're probably in there somewhere, and they just haven't gotten to the point that I'm starting to see, you know, damage done by them. Now, I come around, like I said, these are all Howdens in here. Notice how I put these 4 little pieces of PVC up and put tool material over it, and then I took some jute string and tied it around the frame, around the whole frame at the bottom to hold the mesh down. And in some instances I had to use a spring clamp to hold it down. Now some of these leaves are looking like a light shade of green, so there might be some kind of nitrogen deficiency going on a little bit over here. But you know, when I see yellow leaves and things, the first thing I come and look for is, I lift up the leaf, is there any bug damage underneath? Is there squash bugs going on that are sapping the juices from the leaf? And I am not seeing them out here, and I'm not seeing any breaks in any of the stems parts that would explain. Well, this one actually does. This one is broken, and that's what explains that one. But if it's not bug damage, then I look for veins of the plant, of the leaf or the stem, to see if they've been broken, to indicate why they're turning yellow. But to have a good portion of these out here kind of looking yellow like this, or limey green, where other plants, like, I mean, just looking like down here, you can see the two. On the right, darker green leaves. On the left, lighter green. These are 2 separate plants. You know, but it's just, that's just how it is. This is, whatever is in the holes might be not enough nutrients. I don't know. I had a peach tree that was supposed to be growing there, but it didn't ever grow anything. So, so like I said, Howden up there, Howden here, and Howden varieties under this peach tree here. Okay. And again, tool material and all the same thing I mentioned earlier with the jute string at the bottom, maybe a spring clamp if needed to keep the jute string from riding up and slipping off. I do have, and as I move over here, under this peach tree, this is jack-o'-lantern pumpkin variety. And I'm trying it for the first time this year, and I got to say, at least so far, I'm pretty impressed with it. They seem to bloom, put on a female flower quickly, much more quickly than the Howdens. I already have a pumpkin growing right there. Okay, and I've already got the pumpkin upright. And one thing I've noticed about these jack-o'-lanterns is that this has a long, skinny kind of stem. Okay, so that's telling me this is, I know this is already a jack-o'-lantern, but this is telling me, because I've seen these plants or a pumpkin somewhere else, I'll show you in a little bit, and this helped me to identify another pumpkin that's over in another part of the yard that I didn't know what it was. The two pumpkin plants that are in that apple tree right there, those are magic lantern pumpkins. They're not really doing a whole lot of anything. They seem to be kind of a short vined pumpkin, short to medium, and they're not really doing a whole lot. Up under this apple tree, those two that are growing out all through here, those are Mr. Wrinkles. Just some old seeds that I had. They germinated and they were growing well, so I said, why not? And you got this pumpkin plant here and this one right here that comes under this apple tree. I really don't know what varieties they are. I had a bunch of seeds that kind of things got mixed up together. We had a storm that blew over my plants and stuff, my little seedlings after they just germinated. And so all the things I had organized and knew which ones were which, yeah, that got all messed up to some point. So some of these pumpkins, I don't know what they are, what variety. Okay, so, but they're going pretty good. And out here, again, this is kind of interesting. I got some raspberry bushes out, a couple raspberry bushes out here. And so I had other space because I was going to put 2 more raspberry plants in, but they didn't do very well. But 2 of them did. So I just used the rest of the space for the pumpkins. And again, what happened was I had a bunch of, scrawny looking plants. They germinated, but they were kind of scrawny and didn't look very healthy. But I was like, well, I got the space, I'll go ahead and put them out. And lo and behold, this thing is taken off and gone crazy. And again, I found 1 squash bug out here, got rid of it. So I'm sure there's probably more. And again, I don't know what varieties these are because things got mixed up. But let's see if I can find, there it is. Now, this right here, this pumpkin plant right here, I believe is a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. And again, that long skinny neck that we saw a couple minutes ago, here's another long skinny neck. That's probably a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. Okay. And again, that's what helped me over here where I have another pumpkin growing. Right here. And again, you can see how I've already got the pumpkin sitting up instead of laying on its side. And again, now this stem has gotten a little thicker, as this pumpkin has begun to grow more and more, but it's still very long and everything. So this was the telltale sign of this being a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. Now, in the end, could it turn out to be a magic lantern? I don't know, could be. But it looks an awful lot like that pumpkin over there. And I know for sure those are jack-o'-lanterns. So, well, that's really all to talk about right now with the pumpkins. I'm hoping, you know, I've had some good things and I've had some not so good things. And so we'll see how things progress, and hopefully I'll be able to sell some of these pumpkins for fall and Halloween and Thanksgiving types, decorations and whatnot, and go from there. So thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, want to know anything about pumpkins and growing them and so forth, and just let me know in the comments section below. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.